When my time on earth is gone and my activities here are past, I want they bury me upside down and my critics can kiss my
Always fiery Bob Knight, the legendary Indiana University basketball coach, has died at the age of 83. He had an expansive and remarkable coaching career.
All right, let's bring in WDRB sports journalist Eric Crawford here to talk about Knight's legacy. Eric, good morning. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Good to be here.
Tell me about
tough circumstances.
It is
for a lot of Indiana fans. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, across the United States, just fans of basketball in general. What made Knight so special as a coach?
Well, he really was able to drill his players. He taught offense in a way that if it was played the right way, you really couldn't stop it. His players were reacting, the motion that he used. That a lot of that was copied throughout college basketball, still used today. A lot of what Indiana did offensively. So from a basketball standpoint, there was that, and then there was the person. There was the personality, and we know how fiery he was. But to be in his presence, he was about 6'4", but he seemed like he was 7'4". He just was so intimidating to be around. Even people who don't get intimidated were intimidated a little by Bob Knight.
Talk about the relationship with his players over the years. As you mentioned, he had a hot temper, often directed at journalists and the refs, but then there were occasions when it was at his players. But strangely, they kept a very close relationship with him. Many of them did. They kind of balanced that somehow.
Well, it was like going through boot camp, for 4 years.
If you made it.
The period didn't end, and they came away with a certain amount of affection because he got so much out of them. He got the best out of them, but it was routine for him to kick players out of practice. You're off the team, you're not coming, and it was understood. You still came to practice the next day. I had one tell me that he came to practice, his locker was gone. He didn't have any practice gear. He had to borrow like the center's practice gear, which was like 3 sizes too big. And that went on for a week. He played in his own sneakers until he did something good in practice, and Knight's like cusses and says, give him his stuff back. And that was it. You go on. But it was a different kind of, and it was a different time, but a different experience for those guys.
Talk about Knight as a coach. He started out at Army in his 20s as a head coach. Talk about his accomplishments and rank him compared to other current basketball coaches that are still in the game.
No, he's at the very top. I mean, he's right up there, top 5. Of course, and some of the others that are up there with him are coaches that learned from him, Mike Krzyzewski being the lead one. He 3 national championships, and, again, you don't view him always as an innovator, but he was an innovator. The way he taught offense, it wasn't just go out and run a play. It's react to what the defensive player in front of you is doing, and there's no way to defend it if the players run it right, and didn't always run it right. But his legacy is that, but it's also all of this, just how fiery he was. And he's, as I say, lately we're just kind of writing about the giants of sports, whether it's Schnellenberger, whether it's Denny Crum, whether it's guys like that, and we're losing one by one. But I don't know who the new guys are in quite that role. There's no present day comp for him. Yeah.
Well, he certainly was special, and it was nice that they brought him back to Bloomington.
That was a great thing,
sort of, made everything all right in 2020 when his former players joined him.
Yeah, that was something I'm glad happened, both for him and for Indiana fans and everybody. It would have been bad if it had not happened, if it had not gotten to end on that kind of a note.
Did you ever have a memorable encounter with Coach Knight that sticks out to you?
I had, mine was, I covered them really hard for 1 year. It was Calvert Cheney's senior year, and I was writing for a newspaper in Evansville, which was Calvert's hometown, and he's getting ready to break the Big Ten scoring record. That's a big deal for us. Sure. We did a whole page on the sports section about that, and I was trying to get Knight, trying to get Calvert. He would not bring Calvert to any press conferences. Knight was hit and miss. I typed out a letter and sent to him, and got word from his secretary, Coach Knight's going to call you at this time. I'm sitting at home waiting. We didn't even have cell phones.
Sure.
No call. But later on, I got a voicemail from Knight who did give me 2 or 3 quotes that I was able to use in the story. So,
oh, wow.
So I appreciated that. Another time I talked to him on some event for Dwayne Lucas. He calls, and I asked, there's some controversy going on, I can't even remember now. My last question was about that after I let him say his piece. And he's like, and it's a line that he'd used many times, but he said, Eric, if I ever have to have a brain transplant, I want to get a sports writer's brain because I want one that's not been used. So that was
always on
good
his
night.
Terms, right?
Good night. But he's, and that's I had already heard that line before, but that was it. The end of the interview. Thanks a lot, Coach. Talk to you later.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks,
really
guys.
Appreciate it.